Welcome everyone to Tabletop Anthologies. I'm Severian. I'll be your keeper of arcane lore today. Just like to point out that we're going through some changes with the audio settings here, so if there's any issues with anyone's microphone audio or any of the music, please point that out and I'll get on that right away. So, today we start a new Cthulhu scenario. We left off with our last little side story of Martin Baker yesterday, where he got access to the secret library at Miskatonic University, where some of the most amazing artifacts and tomes containing magic spells and occult knowings from all over the world, and maybe other dimensions. While Martin Baker was doing that, the rest of the investigators were dealing with the drug peddlers of the interdimensional drug known as the Black. They succeeded in stopping this drug trade. However, two of them, Professor Boyle and Professor Halstead, were both fairly seriously injured in the process, while Martin Baker was not there to give them any assistance. So I'd like Martin to take a minute to explain to the other three the situation and what he went through while they were fighting the darkness.
So after the meeting that I had with Regardie, I would have spent a little bit of time in the library and then went to go check on the people that I had left behind. Given that Regardie said that they were given the information and what they needed in order to succeed against the creatures, I didn't rush, but I would have gone and found them as soon as it was reasonably possible.
Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to say thanks for the follow. Sorry, Star Fox.
Thank you, sorry, Star Fox.
Go ahead, Martin.
That's okay. Hey, we should thank you for the follow. Sorry, Star Fox. So I would have went and found you guys. I probably would have checked the Butu Manor. Would have been the first place to go. And then I don't know if you're there or not. And if you're there, then I would like to speak with you.
That's likely where they went back to patch up their wounds, if not a hospital.
If not a hospital. Would the Butus know if they went to a hospital?
Yes, we can go ahead and assume that the party's able to all meet up and in stable condition now, healing from their wounds. And Martin, you can address the party now in wherever they might be meeting.
Do you want it to just address, or do you want to actually have role play? Just sorry, yeah, I don't know what you have planned, so I don't want to interfere. Okay.
Real quick, sorry, is this before we advance in time, or is this?
Yes. This is basically you're able to get stabilized and probably a hospital visit or something like that, mm-hmm. And then once you're able to all kind of convene again and meet together, Martin's here explaining what's going on. So yeah, feel free to role play that out as much as you'd like.
Thank you. So I would definitely be looking at all of you and kind of looking a little sheepish, a little worried, and I'd probably look to Halstead and say, "So, is everything okay? How did everything go?"
Well, to be honest, it was a nightmare from the time we got back to the mansion. We had to lock ourselves in the cellar and had to hold up there for a little while, and I put one of them down, and there was a few more still left, and we decided to make haste to the river and blow up the river to wet down the huge monster that came out of that slaughterhouse. So, but all in all, I'm recovered well enough now, and I believe Boyle's all healed up now, so.
Actually, I I'm having a bit of an issue with my left eye, but it should heal just fine.
Well, let me apologize immediately for not being there with you all. But I think that the reason I left was important, and I have things I need to talk with you about. And the student, Edwards, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
How are you holding up?
I'm here. What's going on? You said you got a student.
No. We need to talk to William after all of this. Anyways, so I've been trying to get into the library at Miskatonic, and I'm sure that you're starting to realize that the things that we see and the things that we're dealing with, it's not limited to a one type of event. Whenever I was in the Marines in France, I ran into things like this. Whenever I was probably just a little older than you, William, I was one of the few survivors out of my platoon that got out of there after we sealed the gate. I've made it my life goal now to study and understand what this is and to try and stem the tide as much as I can, as much as one individual can. And the reason I was brought to the library is to meet with somebody. His name's Alfred Regardie, and he works for Dr. Armitage at the library. He is another person who feels the exact same way, and I was given access to the library. I don't know if you understand the power that these books and relics hold, but one of the things that I was asked for in return was to continue to do these things, to continue to fight back the darkness, to continue to... Sorry, the potion seller thing caught me off guard. To continue to do these things. Sorry. But
this isn't a laughing matter.
I know. I'm trying not to. Ruin my immersion, Hades. Thanks. I can't do it alone, and so I want to ask all of you to join me in this.
Well, you have my rifle there, bud. So
I'm still a little agitated that you went off with not much more than a goodbye. But I believe we've been through quite a bit, and I'd be willing to follow you again. As long as you don't keep us in the dark anymore.
I think that's very fair, and I do apologize. If you remember when we were out on our first trip together, just bringing this things up, you almost had words with me simply by me telling you about these things. It's not something that you can just discuss with anybody. And so
you're telling me that you guys already knew about this stuff, and you just let me come along? I mean,
we tried to keep you out of it as much as possible, but at some point you got involved and there was no going back.
Yes,
Edwards,
William, I'd like to remind you that it was you who put on your brass knuckles and punched that drug user while we were still in the library.
Well, punching the kid, but watching a man get strangled by a tentacle gargoyle thing. I don't think.
Even if I liked it,
it's
no.
Crazy.
Edwards, do you honestly think that that you would have come if we would have told you about these events prior? Because I honestly believe that you would have gone anyways because you were so hell-bent on trying to get revenge for your friend that you would have run straight into it. And sometimes that's the best way to run into these things, is head first into fire. Now you've got some experience under your belt, you can help us out even more.
I don't know what to think anymore. What am I gonna do with? What am I telling my dad? What am I gonna tell? Like, how do I just go home and pretend like nothing like this exists out here? Like, there's no threat lurking on every corner. Like, there's not. Everything's out to get me. I don't.
Listen, if it ain't
Things have been-
the monsters in the closet, then it's the drug dealer down the street trying to get you, or the popos down at the station. You never know.
Nobody
Can't be
gets out of
afraid.
this alive, Edwards. Nobody gets out of this life alive. Sooner or later, we all have to check out. It just matters what you do in between now and then.
Just kind of sulk there, staring at the floor, at my gun.
All right, it seems like a fairly natural break in that little role play there, but if there's anything else you'd like to add first before we move on. So as I was saying, Alfred Regardie, that's the one that recruited.
Second,
Sure.
Doug.
Yep.
I do want to talk to William before we break apart the group, but please continue with Albert.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. He recruited Martin Baker, who in turn recruited the other three here. So you're essentially a squad formed, an expedition squad formed for Miskatonic University's library, working through Dr. Armitage, and under him is Alfred Regardie, who will be giving you your assignments, essentially. Martin, you can go ahead and have your little aside there with William.
I'll make it quick.
Okay.
So whenever everyone begins to, split their ways, I'd grab Edwards by the shoulder and stop him, not rubbing him or anything, but say, listen. It's only going to change from here. You have a choice. You can either let it consume you, or you can roll with it. So many people that I know that were overseas came home and they didn't see anything like we've seen, and they've sunk themselves into a bottle. They've taken their pain away with a gun to their head. They're consumed by the pain that they saw. I said I was pretty close to your age whenever I first ran into all this, and I know what kind of an effect it can have on you. I went down a dark path, and I don't want to see you go down a dark path. So keep your head up. Find the things that still make you happy. That just because you now know that real evil exists out there doesn't mean that you can't have happiness. There's a teaching across the seas that's what's called the Tao, and that's essentially that good can't exist without evil. And so there is real evil out there, but there's also real good, and you need to find that and continue to hold on to it. Don't go down a negative path. I'm around. If you need to come talk, shoot the shit, I'll take you out to a firing range if you want to go. We can go visit with the Butus. I just don't go down the dark path.
I mean, it's kind of a lot to take in here. I mean, listen, like I want to be able to protect myself, and I want to be able to protect my family. So, I definitely want to take up shooting. I hated these things before, but oh my god, seeing those things turn into Swiss cheese just
Feels good.
gave me hope. I mean, honestly though, that these things aren't as impossible as they seem. So. I need a rest right now, but I'm sure
It's fine.
we'll talk soon.
Okay.
And so, William, I'm assuming we'll be out at the firing range a lot with Martin.
Oh, a considerable amount. A 25 previously to 75 amount.
Yeah. So, after that, a couple months pass since that explosion at the slaughterhouse, and it's now the winter of 1928. And the investigators have all recovered from their wounds, among other things that they're doing at this time.
It was my birthday.
And that's about the time when when Albert calls for the expedition squad to meet with him in the Miskatonic Library. So that's where we're going to start off this scenario. Is just outside of Albert's own office, down the hall from Dr. Armitage's office. So that's where you are currently standing. What do you all do?
I'm going to look towards our buddy first, just a small glance, and then give the door a few hard knocks.
What was
Sorry,
that look for?
I had to readjust some cams there in OBS.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Anyways, you knock on the door, and you hear a voice on the other side. Please come in.
Don't mind if I do. I walk right in.
Following suit.
So you all walk in, and sitting there, because some of you might not know what Albert looks like at this point, behind the desk is a slender, dark-skinned man with a serious, clean-shaven face. He's got short hair, and there are patches of gray creeping into it. He motions for you all to sit down in the chairs across from him.
I take my
Is Judith
seat.
there?
Yes, she's standing over in the corner. She's usually around him.
I give Judith a wink and then I sit down.
Yeah. And for everyone else, Judith stands out probably before you see Albert, actually. She's a woman of very immense proportions, standing at least 7 feet tall. Her musculature is barely concealed by the well-tailored suit that she wears.
I would like to put a pillow on my lap.
Now, I call dibs, man. You might as well just let that shit go down.
Oh,
And she has gourmet rocks too.
Yeah.
I roll charm.
And
Nope.
fail.
It all fails. So Albert waits for you all to sit down before he continues. And I just want to point out, you've all talked to him at least once before. It's to you know, in the months leading up to this to understand the full situation about your assignments. But Albert continues. He says, "It's great to see you, gentlemen. I have an assignment for you. That's why I've called you here. You see, there's a man living in Providence, Rhode Island, named Josh Winscott. He's contacted some acquaintances here at Miskatonic University, and that's gone through the grapevine to myself and Dr. Armitage. Mr. Winscott has recently inherited a house at 79 Power Street on College Hill in Providence, Rhode Island. He
Say that again?
claims 79 Power Street on College Hill."
I got it.
Thanks.
And then he continues. He claims to have found tunnels of historical and archaeological importance behind one of the basement walls in this house. And being your first assignment, I hope that Professor Baker here has explained the situation and you all understand what the real goal is here, to assess the situation for any items or artifacts, tomes of any sort of value to the university and our goals here. And he pauses for any questions.
is there any more information on this Josh Winscott?
We don't have much information on Mr. Winscott himself. I'm sure you can ask him. I have resources that tell me that he is a very personable and trustworthy individual.
Okay. And at this 79 Powell Street, you said, correct?
Power Street.
Power Street. Does he seem to have anyone else living with him there? Just so I know.
From what we understand, he has recently inherited this house and may not actually be living there. He's currently renovating it, might be selling it. This will be something you'll have to discuss with him.
Okay. I don't see any other relevant information. Do either of you? I look to my friends.
I think we could find more information on the go.
Then I believe we shall take our leave unless there is anything else you have forgotten to bring up.
There are, of course, the libraries that are local to Providence, and perhaps any other newspaper sources of those sort of things. I understand that there is a library called the John Hay Library nearby, and the Providence Anatheum, which has a lot of historical documentation.
Was it an anatheum?
Historical documentation. Mr. Winscott could likely tell you much more about this.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Albert.
Okay, Mr. Pennyworth, I think we'll be on our way.
I wasn't joking. I did say that.
Yeah, I was about to respond, and then he said, Mr. Pennyworth. You're very welcome, William. And if there's no further questions, I have tasks of my own that I must tend to.
Let's go, guys.
Yep.
Okay. I walk out and get into the view. I assume
The
Allsted-
Boontu-mobile.
I was thinking
That's
about
what I was
that.
about
but
to
then-
say.
I was thinking about that, but I was like, do I really want to start bringing that shit up right now? Like,
No, you don't have to.
So I get into the wheels are just a bunch of Bluetooths holding onto each other.
Absolutely not.
Okay. I assume Halstead brought his truck, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just gonna get into two different vehicles and head our way to 79 Power Street.
Okay, is that okay with everyone else? It is about
I
a
would
day's trip.
gather up supplies before heading out, obviously.
Oh, I would like to.
Yeah.
I imagine that was understood, but just in case.
Vincent James Borrell, seeing a pattern arise, would like to see if he can procure dynamite.
Give me a luck roll.
You in this bullshit system. Not a credit score.
Nope, luck roll.
Oh!
Okay.
Give me that dynamite.
You found one stick of dynamite.
Oh boy. That's all I need. Other than that, I assume we have like general like gasoline, shovels, maybe like a pickaxe. You know, stuff we can dig with if need. You know, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would
yeah, that's
definitely
fine.
want to grab any preservation equipment from my office and from the Archaeological Society, because they did mention that this was found in a house in a tunnel, and there's stuff there that might not be mythos related, but still might be worthwhile saving.
I would like to bring, if possible, if I don't have it, I would like to purchase some headlamps.
I pretty much take my
That's fine.
gun with me
Okay.
everywhere, including on campus, even though I shouldn't. And so I'm definitely already have it on me with plenty of ammunition.
Okay. Yeah, you're feel free to list any gear you want to on your character sheets. I'm assuming between the funds between all of you and the resources available in Arkham, you can tool up with just about anything, all the common sort of gear that you would be able to find. Things like dynamite, of course, I'm going to probably require a little bit more of a roll for it. But we don't need to go through that in detail right now. I like to play it kind of loose and fast with all that sort of stuff because it's kind of obvious what sort of things your characters would know to bring with them.
Love it.
Okay, as long as you're, I didn't want to have the GM be like, oh well, you didn't say that you had.
You didn't say you're bringing
clothes on.
rope.
You didn't say you had clothes on, so
Yeah,
you're
right.
take it as shit. I'm just checking, man. That's just playing it fucking safe.
Yep.
Josh is repulsed by you.
So, if there's nothing else specific you'd like to point out or do before you leave Arkham, I'm assuming you're driving out to Providence, Rhode Island. Sure, go ahead.
One thing. I'd like to go, if I would be able to, check the library to see if anything is brought up about Providence. Not the regular library. Yeah, or where we're heading.
Okay, the secret. So in the secret library.
Yeah, in the library.
Give me a Cthulhu Mythos roll.
Oh shit. That means we develop it.
Nope. Nothing
Yeah,
in the library written for me.
You don't really find anything.
And we're not pushing that. We're not pushing that.
You can push
Usually
rolls
not a
in
good
this?
idea. Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you don't get stress in
It's
this
so-
one though.
so
You just
confused.
die.
You just
Right,
bad
just-
things happen. Yeah.
I made that same question last night. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just go peruse. I already have bags underneath my eyes from spending too much time in that library. I go down, kind of flip through a couple of books, and I'm like, "Fuck it, everyone's waiting on me. Let's go."
All right. And just so we're aware of the situation out there leaving Arkham, who will be driving and how many vehicles are you taking?
Oh, I got my temp. I'll
we
drive.
We probably should take 2 vehicles this time, since it's kind of a days away. I will bring a more sturdy vehicle, so I'll bring a truck as well.
And I
Yeah,
don't
and
believe William has a vehicle, by the way.
Y'all have to pick me up.
I've got
Also,
the other truck. Whoever.
Seb, if you need to, I added some items I thought we might need. If anything looks incorrect in my character sheet, please tell me before I use them.
Okay. Yep, I can do that. So it sounds like we are taking Professor Boyle's vehicle and Professor Halstead's vehicle. All right. The drive out to Providence is a rather calm one in the winter. It's not too much snow, but there's definitely snow on the ground. There's no issue getting there at all. You find the house, no problems. 79 Power Street, up there on College Hill. You've been driving for just about the entire day, left earlier in the morning. Unless you were planning on leaving at a different time, we can change that. No? Okay. So you drive for just about the entire day and arrive at this house later in the evening, we'll say around 6 o'clock p.m. In front of you is a colonial era house. So it's sometime from the 18th and 19th century, all of these houses there, and this one is nestled right between them, a 2-story house. It looks like it's not been taken the greatest care of. Definitely needs some attention on the exterior from what you can tell. But you're all parked outside of it right now. What do you do?
I looked to William because he was definitely in my vehicle. I say, William, go knock on that door for me.
Sure. I'm gonna slowly approach. My gun at my hip here as they're rolling up.
All right. Are you open carrying that?
Yes, honestly. We're going to this crazy ass house with an artifact. I'm open and carrying my weapon.
Okay,
Very
that's fine.
I'm gonna honk
Proudly.
my horn at perfect time to spook him.
No.
Do you actually?
Yes.
All right. Before we get to that, then, is anyone else heading up there to the door with William?
What do I roll to find
Yeah.
out I get spooked?
I'm gonna spook the shit out of him.
Yeah, I'd be going. I'm hoping
Yeah.
I don't get shot now.
All right. While you two are walking up the steps to this house, Professor Boyle honks the horn behind you. I don't. Do you want to react in any way?
I do want. Well, I don't want to, but
Turn.
my character would react. I'm gonna jump and scream like a little girl.
And then we'll look through the window like,
Do it.
oh,
You can't just say you're doing it. You gotta do it.
oh, sorry,
fuck?
my bad.
Oops.
So you approach and get to the front door. It looks like an old, heavy door. No window on the front. There are windows on either side of this porch here that you're standing on, though. What do you do?
Ding dong.
When you knock on the door, there's no doorbell here. You
Right,
knock
right.
on the
Come
door,
on.
and the door slowly creaks open.
Am I looking around?
see
Baker?
who's gonna take charge.
What are we doing here?
Hi, I'm Professor Baker
We
from
going in?
Miskatonic University.
Is anybody
Hello?
in there?
Is anybody there?
It doesn't look like there's anyone behind the door. It's just creaked open by itself. It wasn't latched.
Well, that's red flag number 1.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You can't
right
hear
next
us?
to me.
That was really weird. No, it cut out there for a second. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
If nobody's answering the door, I'd push my way in then.
Yeah, so the door creaks open. You're able to push your way past it just fine. When you open it the rest of the way, you see that there's tools, debris, boxes, and covered furniture strewn all about this house. And right in front of you is a sort of entryway, a foyer. And you see a door to your right and left, and in the back you can see an open entryway to a kitchen.
Seeing them just kind of stroll right in the room, I do actually want to get out of the car and go towards the bottom of the steps just to make sure they're okay. Gun, gun not drawn, but is at my hip.
John Winscott, are you here?
I have my gun like ready. I got my hand on my gun. Kind of.
Professor Halstead, what are you doing?
I'm behind Edwards and Baker, kind of, and I've got my hand on my holster, just looking around, keeping an eye open for anything that may come out, or just keeping a watchful eye on the place.
All right. So as you step over the threshold, calling out for Mr. Winscott, there's no response. Initially. After a few seconds, you do hear from the back, "Please, come in!" And you realize it's coming from the kitchen area. That was straight ahead.
Did it sound friendly? Like you made it sound?
Yes.
Okay.
Did it sound like Doug was calling us to the kitchen? Because if
Please,
so,
come in.
I'm jogging
Yeah.
over there.
Exactly. My hand's off my gun completely, and I'm skipping back.
Yeah, hearing that, Vincent kind of like ducks his head and puts his ear out. It's like, was that Doug? And I start also jogging.
There's an angel descent to us. Let's run.
Hark, the herald angels sing.
So entering the kitchen,
Stop,
you're
you can only blush so much.
yeah, right. Entering the kitchen, you can see that there's a set of stairs leading down into what you're probably assuming is the basement. And on these stairs, there's a man standing there. He's wearing dark trousers, and has a white shirt with rolled up sleeves. There's a lot of dirt and soot smeared all over his clothing and his face a little bit too, from whatever work he must have been doing down in the basement. He looks like a very happy and joyous man, and as you walk in, his eyes noticeably flick down to the guns on your hips, and he says, are you the gentleman from Miskatonic?
I cover my lap with a pillow.
We are. Hi, Professor Baker. I'd stick my hand out. Professor Baker, Miskatonic University.
I'm just put my hand up, like.
And he shakes
Hey.
your hand and says, well, hello, I'm Josh Winscott. I'm sure you've heard I've called for you all to come out and take a look at what I found here.
Absolutely.
But first,
let me introduce you to Dr. Halstead here and Dr. Boyle. Both, at least Dr. Boyle was formerly from Miskatonic. He's doing his own thing now, which is fantastic. Dr. Halstead's also a professor at Miskatonic, and we have one of the students that's supporting us. Is my grad student is William Edwards here.
He shakes all of your hands and says, well, it's wonderful to meet all of you, and thank you so much for coming out to take a look at what I found. But before we look at anything, let's sit down, and would you all like a cup of coffee while we discuss the situation?
Oh my! I know this trick. I bring out my dynamite. But no, Boyle is actually going to remember from when the nice old lady gave him pie, and he's going to politely refuse the coffee.
Okay.
I'm gonna be like, coffee sure does sound good right about now. We've had a little bit of a drive, so I appreciate it.
I look to Halstead and I say, "Are you sure? Would you like some nice little old lady pie with that coffee?"
I don't know what your issue is. That pie was delicious.
It was.
I'll definitely take some coffee, even though I slept the entire way up here. Sorry about that, Halstead.
Ah, no worries.
I kind of take my glasses off and rub my left eye and then put them back on.
You got pink eye, son? You need me to take a look at that eye?
No, my eye is
can
fine.
I please
Thank
enjoy
you.
my coffee in peace, please? I don't.
So he begins to brew some coffee. He directs you all to where you can sit down in maybe the living room after he's moved over some boxes and tools that he had sitting there, uncovered some furniture, and made room for you all. And within 15 minutes, you're all sitting down, drinking coffee, and he begins to tell you about what he's found. So, gentlemen, as I said, thank you so much for coming and taking a look at this. I have found tunnels under my house. I'm not sure how much you know about the situation here, but I recently inherited this house from my aunt, and well, while I was doing some work down there, I noticed that there was a bricked up section of the wall that, after I tore down some pieces of it, found that there was a tunnel behind it. And just hoping that someone, such as yourselves from the university can come down here and see what sort of historical importance, what kind of things we can find in there.
Is this just a dirt tunnel, or does it look to have infrastructure?
Well, the first initial entrance is a brick tunnel, but it leads to what seems like a natural cave system. I haven't gone far into it. I've spent much of today just clearing out the rest of the debris and making way for you.
That's very kind.
There are artifacts here? Does that have something to do with the tunnels? You find them in the tunnels?
Possibly. I'm hoping that we can find something. I'm sure you know something of the history of, the folk tales, really, of tunnels underneath Providence.
I have no idea.
Oh, well, perhaps you can all do a little bit more research at the libraries nearby, but from what I know about it is that there are rumors that slaves were taken through the tunnels here underneath Providence when the slave trade was starting to become illegal here. Some of the slavers used tunnels, and this could be one of those tunnels. This could be a very historical, important thing that we found here.
Yeah, very historical and important. It's interesting. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? I don't think this is our thing.
I lean over. It never seems. What the fuck? It never seems to be our thing at the beginning.
I like whispered that to them in the middle of the conversation.
Yeah.
I said that shit out loud. No.
Josh
I'd
takes
respond.
notice and yeah, go ahead.
I'd respond to Williams. I think what Dr. Boyle said is very much the case. You never know what these things are, and finding relics that we can take back to the university is always very important for the education of others.
Exactly, and I'm hoping that we can find something exciting down there. Who knows what could be there?
Yeah, who knows? It could be a cave full of your loved ones, and there's eyes everywhere. You never know.
Did these?
That's rather grim.
It's just a joke. Something
okay.
we professors like to joke about.
Of course. And he kind of just leans back and lights up a Turkish cigarette with a raised eyebrow.
Did these
more of those?
did these caves happen to
What's
look
that?
indigenous in nature?
No, I haven't explored them very extensively yet, but it just seemed like a natural cave system that this led into, but perhaps this was a cave system that was utilized as their own tunnels by the slavers. I guess that's what you four are here to determine. And what did you say, William?
Never mind.
Okay.
Will you be able to take us to this tunnel now? We would like to get started immediately. William and Holstead, if you will go into the back of my truck and gather some of the materials that I left back. There's some headlamps and whatnot.
Well, hang on here. I'm sorry, Professor Boyle, but we need to. We do need to get started as soon as we can, but I insist that I must go down there with you, and I'm much too exhausted right now, and it could be dangerous at my current state. I much prefer that we start tomorrow morning, if that's all right with you four.
That's very much okay, because I did want to
drive.
stop by the library and take a look at things, and I didn't want to just leave the three of you again to go to the library.
Yeah, I don't want to go to the library with
Well,
you.
I'm sure that would be very beneficial looking at the library. I know, in fact, there is the John Hay Library, and also the Providence Athenaeum is just up the road, maybe half a mile north of here. Both of them should have something about the history here in Providence. Maybe you can find something about this house and specifically.
Actually,
Do you have any shooting ranges nearby by chance?
Oh, I wouldn't know anything about that kind of thing.
Actually, Baker, with Josh bringing up how tired he is, I just remembered we've pretty much been driving all day, and I'm fairly tired as well. We should probably hit the hay for at least tonight.
Well, please feel free to. I'd like to see if the library's still open. I'm used to putting in long hours, so. And as I told, and poor Halstead, I again, my friend, I do apologize. I slept the entire way up here, so I have a little bit of energy. This coffee's kind of got me perked up. If the library's open, I'd like to go take a look at it.
I think that's a good idea.
I'll tag along. I got nothing better to do.
If everyone's going, then I shall tag along as well.
Of course, feel free to do whatever research you need to do, and tomorrow we can meet here again. What do we say? 9 a.m. and we can start right away. Wonderful. Is there anything else I can do for you while you're here?
Coffee to go would be wonderful.
Yes, please.
Of course.
Extra strong, please.
Yes, for me as well. Thank you.
So
Take one of those Turkish cigarettes if you got it.
Certainly.
And,
he hands you one over.
Also, do you have $5?
Oh, do you actually ask him that?
Yeah. Do you have $2?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have any cash on me right at the moment. No.
Oh, I was just seeing what we could get away with, you know. But that coffee for sure.
He assumes you're joking and you know laughs a little bit at that, but he also continues to mention, well, if you're looking for somewhere to rest for tonight, there's plenty of hotels in the area, and he recommends a few there that you can easily go to and get a room, or multiple, however you want to do that.
At one room, single bed preferably.
Single twin.
And Halstead pulls out his tarp from the back of his truck and builds a teepee, so
Nice.
Sleeps outside.
As we are driving to this library, though, I did get some of that coffee, and I'm still, at this point, Boyle is a very, what's it called? Everything's out to get him. Can't think of it.
Paranoid?
Paranoid. Very paranoid at this point in his life. He's testing the coffee to see if he can figure out if anything's wrong with it.
You don't notice anything peculiar with it. It tastes like pretty good coffee.
I do not taste it. I said test it.
Oh, I thought you meant by tasting as well. Testing it in what way? You don't notice anything peculiar about it, and no matter what test you do.
Okay, I throw it out the window then.
Everyone else, however, notices you doing all sorts of strange tests on this coffee and might be considering that you're close to the edge here. And maybe you need to be watched. What's going on in Professor Boyle's head now?
There's literally no edge around me. We're in a car, you ignoramuses.
Alright, so if there's nothing else that you'd like to talk to Josh about, you all leave and let me know where each of you are going. You've got 2 vehicles. There's also things in walking distance. Let's start with Martin. Where are you going?
Food, then library.
Okay.
Yeah.
Robert?
I'm assuming that me and Martin would go together because we drove up here together. And I would say to the group, there's 2 libraries in town. Maybe we would have the best chances of success if we split up and 2 of us search one library. So, and then
I don't want to go with Boyle. Please don't make me go with Boyle.
Whoa,
please don't make me go with Boyle.
I kind of rub my left eye and just like, what's that supposed to mean, William?
Yeah. I just I'm allergic to your fabric softener.
Oh, that makes sense. I start twiddling with my dynamite a little bit.
Oh, no.
Not actually. I don't actually do that. I understand. I think William should go with Mr. Baker. He seems to have more of a connection with him than anyone else. Plus, Baker can keep him in check.
Right, connection. Yeah. That's what it is.
All right, I guess I hand the keys to my truck over to Baker then.
All right, so which library are you going to specifically, Martin? And any specific library you wanted to go to? There are numerous in the area.
John Hay.
Okay, sure. Well, we'll go there first. So it sounds like Martin, Robert, and William are all going to that library. Vincent, where are you going? You're free to follow them to the same place.
I want to. What is the other place? I forgot to write it down.
The other place was the
Anathema.
Yes.
I would like to go there.
Okay. So then let's
You
start
heading with him then, Halstead?
Huh?
Are you heading with Boyle then, Halstead?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't think it'd be safe to have. I kind of lean over.
Boyle alone either.
Yeah.
Boyle
I hand Baker
just
my.
fine. Okay.
I hand Baker my truck keys and I go over to Boyle's car.
I'll take care of her.
All right.
So do I need to make a sanity check just to get in the car with Boyle?
Holy shit! I'm literally just trying to see. I'm literally just trying to sit here with my 65 strength, and you guys are being dicks.
No, he hasn't gone that far yet. He's not that far gone.
No, I'm not that insane.
So we'll start with, it sounds like Martin and William Edwards are going to the John Hay Library. Oh.
Just got a raid.
Oh, nice. Diesel Shots raiding with the party of 12.
What's up?
Awesome, thank you guys.
Welcome, guys.
Howdy,
We're
gamers.
playing some Call of Cthulhu here. I think that's what you were playing today. Not 100% sure on that.
Was it the Victorian Call of Cthulhu, or they also have a Uranium Fever game going, their Changed Stars game, and I know that Pat had an Alien RPG game with Eckert Gaming. What do you guys got going on today?
You just got an ammo dump too, so I'll keep that in mind for the future. I'm going to use that in a different way since...
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind and make note of that. So what we're doing right now is the investigators are about to do a little investigating before heading into some tunnels in the underground of Providence, Rhode Island. So Martin and William heading to the John Hay Library. You get there no issue. It's very close by. Go ahead and give me a library use roll, each of you.
Library use.
Thanks for the follow, Q Prime 91.
Thank you for the follow.
Thank you.
Prime. 91.
Remember, you can push things.
Ugh,
Pushing
I'm
rolls,
that.
pushing library use rolls usually causes more time to pass by. So at this point, you've probably spent a good two to 3 hours
Okay, I'm pushing
there.
my
So
roll.
it's about the middle of the night for you.
That's okay. I slept the entire way up here, so.
No, Vincent, and Robert, you
Nice,
hang
Martin.
on. You two need to hang on. We're getting to you next.
Okay.
So it looks like Baker passed his push, and William, did you pass
With the,
yours, or did you push yours?
I did not push mine. I don't know. I guess I'll just push it. I guess it's not a
I don't think
You
you
can
need
also-
to with that
Nice.
double. Oh, look at you.
All right.
pushing it.
We got the what's that? What's the good success in this one? There's 3 different successes, right? There's the regular, there's the higher
Hard
one, and then
and
there's
extreme.
Yep, we both got hard.
So you find a couple of between the two of you, there's 2 different bits of historical information you find here. So this is the first one, some information about slavery in Providence. Maybe if one of you want to quickly read through that.
I
Like out
accidentally
loud?
closed it right away.
Rhode Island.
Yeah, if
You want
not,
it,
I
you want
can
it
read
read
it.
out loud?
Yeah, if
I
not,
can
if
read it out
I can
loud,
read
it's
it.
fine.
I'm just allowing
That's
the
okay.
class to read out loud if you'd like.
Can
Oh wow! Now let me tell you how fucking weird I feel.
you open it back up for me? Can you open it for me?
Rhode Island was one of the
One of
most
the most
active
active
northern colonies in the slave trade, controlling over half of the trade in all of America. Newport was the most important Rhode Island port, but Providence was also greatly involved. Despite the emancipation beginning during the Revolution, the ownership of slaves continued until the 1840s. Originally, the slaves were primarily sold in the West Indies or brought back to Rhode Island to work on its own plantations. When Congress gave the trade an expiration of 1806, Rhode Island served the hungry trade markets of the South, shipping as many slaves as they could, as quickly as they could. Conditions for their human cargo, already poor, quickly deteriorated. John Brown was tried in 1796 for violating the slave trade laws, but he was found not guilty. A year later, he was tried again, and his slave ship, Hope, was confiscated. The Brown family of Providence has been successfully involved in the slave trade for decades, becoming one of the region's most prominent mercantile and political families. Rhode Island University was renamed Brown University in honor of their donations. If that's accurate, that's disconcerting. Over the years, the discovery of drainage tunnels and bricked-over cold storage rooms, hint, hint, under some houses on College Hill have stoked speculation that they were once used to smuggle slaves into Providence after the laws against the slave trade were passed. In 1901, a cornerstone in nearby tunnel was rediscovered during renovations on the house of John Brown. The stone was inscribed with Brown's name and the date of 1786 and appears to have stood at the entrance of a large tunnel running towards Benefit Street. It was wide enough for 2 grown men to crawl through. While the head architect dismissed it as a drainage conduit, the tunnel's discovery revived rumors that it had been used to smuggle slaves.
All right. So it sounds like there's definitely some history some proven history of tunnels here in Providence, not just folklore like Josh said it might be. So in addition to that, you find a little bit of history on the house itself. Would anyone like to take a shot at reading that? Otherwise, I'll take that.
Oh, raise my hand.
All right, go for it.
Raise it. Go for it, Mr. Ian.
Repeat on me.
I'm calling on
Me?
you, William.
Thank you. The house at 79 Power Street was built by Elijah Winscott, a slave trader. In 1796, he lived in it briefly before becoming ill, at which point he retired to the countryside, where he died in 1811. Micah Winscott, Elijah's nephew, inherited the house. With the end of the slave trade, the family's various remaining business ventures, such as textile, manufacturing, and rum distilling, maintained a good portion of the family's wealth until after the Civil War. With the closing of their textile factory, the family's fortunes steadily declined. Josh's widowed Aunt Florence lived in Elijah Winscott's home until her recent death, where it was bequeathed to Josh.
Right. So now you know a little bit of history about the house, about some of the tunnels under Providence. Let's go over to Vincent and Robert. That little library venture there between William and Martin, we'll say that took quite a few hours, and it's likely around 10, 11 p.m. at night. But before we get to that point, Vincent, Robert, when you get to the Anatheum, I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing that backwards. It's Athenaeum, I believe. You are greeted by someone up front that tells you there's a $15 fee, monthly fee, in order to use this library.
I look at Boyle and I'm just like, you got the money there, man.
Excuse me. Of course I have the money, but it's the point. And I take out my wallet and I slowly count in ones $15.
All right.
And I'm like, there you go. Is that enough?
The man standing behind the counter slowly watches you, kind of put off by the way you two are just talking back and forth, but he grabs up the money, puts it behind the counter there in a register of some sort, and shows you through the door behind the counter. And behind this door, are just lots of rows and rows of historical documents and a lot of rare books. It's a very exclusive library with a lot of historical things about Providence specifically.
Okay.
So would I be able to look around and
give me a library use, both of you? But yeah, is there something you wanted to add there?
No, I was just looking if anything caught my eye, essentially. Pushing that. Okay, might as well die then.
Library burns down with you in it.
All right. So because of that failed push, give me 1 second. I need to check something here.
The entire library falls on my head, but only killing me.
So you take a little bit more time, Boyle, trying to find some information. But meanwhile, Robert, you find this letter.
Oh, as I'm looking through it, the more time that passes, I keep my eyes open. I'm tending to rub at my left eye, increasingly more. At some point, just trying to keep it shut for most of the time.
All right. Robert, are you able to see the text on that letter okay? And if so, would you like to read it?
Yeah, I can try and read it. I enlarged it a little bit. All right, so it says Providence, January 5th, 1811. Dear Philip, it is with immeasurable sadness that I tell you that Elijah Winscott has passed from this world and is now in the loving arms of our Lord. We had all known that he was not in good health for some years in both his body and his spirit. He had made it most hard to know his troubles, for he had quit the company of his fellows. I did miss him.
Let me go ahead and read that out loud because I've got the PDF here. I should have put the PDF in instead of the PNG, so I apologize for that.
Okay.
But I'll continue this letter. So this is what Jacob Bishop here is saying. Continuing the middle of that paragraph there. I did visit him in the country house where he had lived for some years now. As he lay in his sickbed, he broke his silence and told me a tale that I cannot properly reckon. I do not rightly know if I should tell it to you now, but I know you worried greatly for our friend. He recalled me that 15 years past he had pondered how we might continue our trade, which had served us so well. The hateful laws against our livelihood and the troubles that beset good John Brown caused him no end of upset. Well, I remember, as you must, Elijah's character and speaking in the tavern during this time. We thought it idle fancy and too much drink. We all of us laughed to hear him speak of how we should dig tunnels neath the town. We did not know then that 'twas not idle fancy altogether. We did not know that he had been making plans in secret. For when the cellar neath Elijah Winscott's home was laid, a tunnel was found. This tunnel did go close to the river, and it was no matter to dig it yet closer. He would use this passage to shepherd slaves to and from the town. All had been said, and Elijah did wait happy in his home for his men to bring him his slaves, but they did not come. When he began to wonder what had kept him, he and the men he had to hand went down to see what they might find. They found death. In straining voice, he told me of parts of men strewn like rags across the tunnel, white man and slave alike. He could not be sure, for he did not linger, but he did think that not all men were accounted for, nor did he note anything of the slave women. But where could the others have gone, and what had come for them? The shadows of the caverns did seem to leer at him, keeping the mystery from him. Quickly he returned, and quickly he made walls of strong brick underneath his home and near the river to keep out whatever may be below. He knew no rest from that day forward, certainly not while he remained in that house. All we knew then was that he fell ill and spoke no more of the schemes to thwart the laws. From his sickbed at the end of his life, he said that chasms plunged deep beneath the town he had quit. He peered out his window at the swaying red maple trees and seemed to calm. I can only think that this country house was some peace to him as he breathed his last. May his heirs have better fortune in that house in Providence than he. With sincere esteem, Jacob Bishop. It's a very long handout, but I hope it was enjoyable hearing me read that to you, and you got some vital information out of it.
Anytime you talk, I actually have to tune you out a little bit, or I might get a little too horny.
Exactly.
I understand the effect that I have.
Okay, calm down.
A little office
All
reference.
right.
I'm not that arrogant.
I wish you were.
So
yeah, you put that chapstick on.
That is what Robert finds. Meanwhile, Vincent is looking and pushing his rolls and taking more time, and Robert is unable to locate him in all of the rows and rows of books. And unfortunately, Vincent, you caused a little bit of damage that one of the attendants take notice of to a very rare book. They're saying that you have to pay $100 or else they're going to call the police in here and have you removed and possibly taken to jail.
Go to jail.
My head kind of snaps to him, and I say, "Did you say jail?"
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, but this is a very rare book, and it says in our member policies here that you're liable for any damage. And I can show you all of the receipts and everything about this specific book, but $100 will cover it. And I'm sure a man of your wealth that has such
$100 to repair it or to buy it?
To repair it. These are very rare historical documents and books in here.
How much to buy it?
Well, to buy it would be, well, just one moment, please. And he looks through some reference material that he has. He's got a binder here. Well, that would come to about $300.
$300, you say? Huh. And I get up closer to him and I say, would you be willing to hold this book for me while I gather funds? You say it's quite rare, correct? I'd like to siphon through the book. Does it look like it has literally any value to me whatsoever?
Nope. Not at
I
all.
say,
you
I
do
need to
have
gather-
you do
I
have
need to-
cash of $350 total.
Yes, yes.
So.
I would like to not repair the book, but purchase it. Would you be willing to hold it for me for about a day?
So to get through this little interaction quickly, I'm going to tell you that he's not going to allow you to walk out of here without either giving him that 100 or buying it flat out for 300 if you really want to do that.
I tell him, and if he allows me to go get the funds first...
No. You have to pay him, I'm telling you, you have to pay him right now $100 or $300 if you want to take the book with you for whatever reason. Otherwise, he's calling the police on you right now.
I can't like bribe him or anything.
No.
At all.
No. He's unbribable.
Fine, I take
because
my gun out and
this
shoot
is all
him.
because of the pushed roll. This is the consequence of it.
Okay, can I just shoot him then? No, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, then I'm just gonna say screw it and then give him $100.
Okay. All right. So you're down $100 on your cash currently, which you can re-up that, after the scenario once you get back to your house or whatever. So after a few hours, Robert, you're finally able to locate Vincent, and I'm assuming you share the letter back and forth. What do you do next?
The dude's no longer near me, right?
Right.
Completely gone, right? No one's near me at all.
Nope. Just
okay.
just
I put
Robert.
I put the book back. I grab a different book and I rip it in half.
Okay. No one notices you do that.
And then I put it back.
Okay.
And I look to, and then after I put it back, I kind of like flinch to myself for a second. I'm like, huh, I've never been that aggressive before.
Do I notice all this happening?
Oh, I do it right in front of you, straight up. I'm not even hiding from you at all. You also hear me say that as well, guaranteed.
Boyle, what's going on with you?
I don't know. Whatever. Let's. Did you find something?
I did, and I handed the letter over. It's a letter to about the house.
Huh. I quickly read over it. Where did you find this? In what book or documents?
It was probably it was located over here in the ownership of the houses.
Well,
information on the ownership of the houses.
Well, let's take the note and get back to the rest of them. Also, I really don't feel like paying for a book today. Their prices are outrageous.
All right, so you leave that library. Did you establish some hotel or something that you're all meeting up at? Martin and Ed and William, what were you doing after that library excursion?
Heading back to the meetup point. I assume that we would.
I would say at dinner time we all made a plan to meet up at a hotel.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So you all make it back to the hotel, and I'm assuming you share your bit of information that each of you found.
Yep.
But if there's anything you'd like to go over right now, you can do that. Otherwise, we will fast forward through the night's sleep.
I just point out to Baker and Edwards that about the letter, and I was like, if you read through this letter carefully, it points out that what we're looking for is tied to what we faced before. Seems like this man went mad and hearing things and just otherworldly stuff that we've.
It appears
faced
that
before.
there was flayed bodies. Is that At least that's what I took from the letter, is that there was flayed bodies on the walls.
Yeah.
Well, there was, if we need to go back to my letters, hold on one second, sorry. Close. One of the things that was also found was another one of these tunnel sets that had Brown's name on it. It seems like these tunnels aren't unusual, but I'm wondering if this tunnel in particular might be different. So just something to keep in mind.
So if there's nothing else, we'll go back to the morning. And you guys, is there anything specific you want to do in the morning when you're waking up before you all meet at the Winscott house?
Eat.
Of course.
I pull Baker off to the side, and I look at Baker and I'm like, tell him, I said, Baker, we need to talk real quick, and motion him to a room that we're alone in.
Sure.
And Baker, so last night when we were in the library, Boyle did something strange. Boyle acted out in rage last night and ripped that book apart and put it back in there, and it was almost as if he had no recollection of why or how he felt that way. Have you noticed this before?
I mean, I've noticed him being strange, but it just, everything that I've read so far and that I've experienced, this stuff weighs heavily on your mind, and it can do things to you, and it can make you a little bit different. I've also seen people come back from battle and not have control on their emotions either. So it could be either or.
Yeah, I mean,
I know. I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I completely understand, and I appreciate you bringing it up to my attention, and I'll keep an eye out as well. I don't know. That is weird.
I just I'm concerned with his sanity and his well-being, because I don't want to see him go down and lose his mind. Like, I forget what the kids' names were that were in that first session we did.
No, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, at worst, we'll have him committed to Arkham for a little bit until he can heal his mind. But for now, we need him.
We do.
He needs to be a soldier, just like the rest of us. So sometimes you have to put soldiers in harm's way, even if you don't want to.
We do. I just wanted to make sure you were aware and to keep an eye out if I'm not around him.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Literally gonna fucking strangle you all while you sleep.
So with that side meeting done, you all make your way for the Winscott house, and you approach the front door. What do you do?
Nope. If the GM asks if you're approaching the front door, you never do. Yeah, no. Yep, heading in. I'm have a mug of coffee, or I don't even know if travel cups are a thing, whatever, during the 1920s, but I got me some coffee. I'm heading in.
Yep, same.
Like nothing's wrong.
All right.
Yep.
You unlock the door and head in. Are you just heading straight for the those basement steps?
Giving a knock and giving a call out to Joshua.
Yeah.
Or John, excuse me, not Joshua.
No, it's Josh.
No, Josh. It's Josh, yeah.
The name
It's
that
Josh.
you gave to me.
Josh
was
It's
Winscott.
Josh, yeah.
Okay.
You knock on the door.
To Josh, Mr. Josh Winscott.
You knock on the door, and you're able to open it right after. No issue. It's not locked. You don't hear anything at all inside. There's no
Josh?
answers, just like yesterday.
Josh, are you in the kitchen with your coffee again?
You wait a few seconds, expecting an answer like yesterday, but there's nothing.
There's a fairly good chance that he's
Hands
most
on my gun.
likely already in the tunnel.
Why would he go ahead? Why would he go ahead in front of us, though? He
he
literally said that he was going to wait on us to come.
He
I don't
explored
trust this at all.
He explored it once by himself. It's his own home. There's a decent chance he got curious and stepped foot in.
I'm with William on this one. Check the rooms. Let's make sure that he isn't still asleep, and then we can head down. You brought mining gear, right?
Yes,
Boyle?
it's in the car. I have quite a few things.
Okay. We need to check out the room, see if old Josh is around anywhere, and then we can head down. I'm with William on this one though. The guy didn't seem like he was going to rush off without us.
So it doesn't take long to sweep the whole house. You don't find any evidence of him. There's just more boxes, debris. It's a rather old house, and his aunt must have been rather old at the time that she had died and passed it on to him. So he's here, repairing it. And there's a lot of evidence of that, but no evidence of him. Except for in the kitchen, you do see there's a cooling cup of coffee sitting on the counter near the basement steps.
Son of a bitch, Boyle was right.
I go up to the coffee, and obviously I can pretty plainly see that it's still warm, correct?
Yeah, cooling. So it's just a little bit warm.
Yeah. I looked to them, I said, if this is still warm and something's going on like we think is going on, we probably don't have much time left. And I think you know where we need to go.
Let's mount up then. Grab the gear, make sure we got enough stuff, and let's go.
Okay, so the gear I brought, and since Severian didn't say no to anything that I told him about, I have exactly 5 shovels, 200 feet of rope, 3 pickaxes, 5 headlamps, 3 hand axes, and 1 butu.
The butu is not allowed.
You didn't say that!
Well, now I am. But yeah, everything else is fine. So if anyone wants to take any of those shovels or anything, I'm assuming you probably got some sort of packs and things that the explorers packs essentially are, or whatever you want to call it, that you could strap some of this equipment to.
Also got some extra oil for the headlamps and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, that's perfectly fine. So what do you do? Head down to the basement steps?
I assume so.
All right, so
Baker, would you like to take lead? Halstead in the back, since do you have your rifle on you?
I do. It's strapped to my back.
You seem to be a fairly good shot, so it's smartest for you to have range in case if something happens. Baker, you're the best close combat. And then me and William in the middle.
all right, so you head down those steps there. If there's nothing else you guys would like to do. And walking down those steps, you can clearly see on the other side of the basement a hole in the brick wall.
There's a hole in the bottom of the seat.
Behind this hole, you can see a brick tunnel.
A brick
dark
tunnel?
back there. Yes, a brick tunnel, and it leads to what you can just barely make out beyond it, maybe 25 feet. That brick tunnel ends in what appears to be a natural cavern that leads to your right and left, which are east and west.
How big's the hole?
A little bit bigger than a person
hole,
to go through.
I think this.
Yeah,
Okay,
essentially,
so
it's
an
almost
opening.
a doorway. Yes, it's an opening.
Okay.
I put my hand on Baker's shoulder and say, it's probably not smart for us to split up. We should go together first. If we don't find anything one way, we'll go back the other.
I concur.
Okay, so
So at
tell me what
this
you do.
time, I'd have I'm pulling out the old trench club and having one of the. You brought a what kind of axe? Not a pickaxe. You had something else in there. You said.
I have 3 hand axes. I have 3 pickaxes and 5 shovels, and then 200 feet of rope. And then we're all wearing the headlamps, I assume.
Don't worry, I
Yeah,
brought my 12-gauge pump shotgun.
Oh Jesus! Maybe you should.
Oh wait, yeah, I forgot. I still have the shotgun as well.
Oh God! I have 2 people with shotguns behind me. All right. Well, if the minute that we have this cold coffee, this cooling coffee, we're going to be heading into a tunnel that we've already seen notes that said that there was flayed people in there. I'm going to have the 1911 out and the trench club.
If
So-
I do
Okay.
actually still have my shotgun, can I just give it to Baker since he's in the front?
Yeah, if he wants it.
Yeah. I try to hand you this pump shotgun.
I'd wave it off. Well, fuck. No, I'd wave it off and say, just don't shoot it near my head and make sure I'm not going to get hit with the spread of it. All right. I'm better with this and this.
Whatever you say, Baker.
All right.
Okay.
Let's
stepping
do
through
this.
first?
So we can
Marty?
go. I'll be going through. Well, no, wait. I don't know what the equivalent of an archaeologist. I have archaeology experience. I'd be kind of feeling around the edges to make sure that there isn't anything about to come down on my head as I go through. I mean, granted, somebody's probably already been through, but you never know. Play it safe.
Give me a track roll, actually.
Give you a track roll.
He's wearing a track suit, so he gets a plus, right? Oh.
Womp womp womp.
So examining this opening that Josh had made, you see that there's a lot of debris on the ground on either side of it. It seems to be pretty sturdy. This brick tunnel that you're looking at seems sturdy as well. You don't think there's any danger of any sort of immediate collapses. And below you can see that there's at where the tunnel ends, there's eventually a lot of debris there, and it stops, and then that's where that natural cavern starts. But no sort of structural issues that you can tell.
All right, chums, let's do this.
We roll.
And stepping ahead, you can see that that cavern extends to your right and left. The right goes off to the west, and the left goes off to the east, because you're entering from the north.
Hold on. Now
rather-
that give me a second. You're giving cardinal directions, so I'm pulling out a piece of paper.
Sure.
Okay, so you said we're
There
heading
will
north,
be
and you
a-
said that we can either go east or west.
Yes, there will be a map next session, but we don't need it quite yet. The
That's
cavern
GM
is-
code. I didn't have time to make it.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, you can't lie to me.
Anyways, this cavern is
yeah.
it's rather dark. The only light that's coming in currently is from behind you. There's a basement light and whatever lights you're carrying with you. So those headlamps, it sounds like.
All right. Well, I'd head in towards, and I'd start moving off to the west.
To the west. Okay.
So that's to the left, you said, right?
The west would be to your right. You're entering from the
You
north.
said we're entering from the north.
Yes.
Okay, that's I thought you said we're going to the north. Okay, got it. Never mind. All right. So
does everyone else follow
here,
Martin?
Yepers.
All right.
So we're heading west, so we're going to be going that way.
You're walking down this
Okay.
tunnel then. It barely fits 2 people wide. So it's most comfortable if you walk single file. But walking west, about 200 feet in, you come across human remains. They're very old human remains, though. Mostly
I'd
bones.
give a call for Halstead to come on up here and take a gander.
Okay, I squeeze my way past and make my way up there and inspect the bones and whatever remains.
I poke William and tell him to make sure nothing's coming up from behind us.
William, what are you doing?
I have my shotgun kind of drawn at this point. Really just panning for targets like I'm at the shooting range.
All right.
I'm probably I probably have a lack of trigger discipline at this point.
Oh, you keep your finger straight off that trigger until you're ready to fire, son.
I probably have a lack of trigger discipline.
Oh, Jesus.
Robert, give
right
me
now,
a medicine roll if
right.
you're examining those.
Okay.
And while you're looking at that, everyone's able to see that about 10 feet from these remains on the southern wall is a small hole.
Luck that thing.
I'm gonna use luck. Yeah.
Sure.
1 freaking percent. What the heck?
So, these remains, they belong to about 6 people. There are also the remains of iron manacles around the limbs of 3 of them. After taking a closer look, Halstead, you can tell that these bones are probably about 150 years old. Been here for a long time. Anyone standing near the remains looking at them, give me either an archaeology or history roll.
So I have a 1% in archaeology and I have a 5% in history. So it's wow! Oh
I,
my.
Almost got it, dude.
Well, actually, that's only 3%.
Who got that success there? That was
Baker.
I did.
Baker.
I
Okay.
pushed
Trip.
it. I lucked it. I lucked it.
All right. So you both notice that the clothing on these remains is definitely from the colonial era. And overall, many of these bones have all become separated. You're unsure why, but looking at the clothing, you can definitely tell that there's old blood stains on it. As I
Are
said,
the bodies directly across from that hole?
Yes. Yeah, directly 10 feet from it on the southern wall, there's an opening that continues south into more cavern. This tunnel does continue further west, though. Yeah.
And you said only 3 of them had manacles on them?
Yes.
How well manicured are they?
The manacles? After 150 years, not well. So what are you all doing now?
So, hold on. I need to kind of draw this out in my head. So, okay, we're here. So there's the path continues to the west.
Yes.
And then you were saying this hole
It's in the
is
southern
10 feet.
wall.
Which direction? In the southern wall. And is this? You keep saying. I know. This is just my personal definition. It's because of my brain. I hear hole. I think like this, right? I hear opening. I think walk through.
This is
or
a wider
crawl.
hole. It's
So are we
I
looking-
wouldn't call it an opening or a doorway, but it's something you can crawl through for sure.
Oh, so you're saying if we had somebody of around student size, they should be able to crawl through, right?
And while you're looking at that hole, yes, that's true, Vincent. Martin, give me a spot hidden roll, since you're looking at this hole.
Do you want me to do it as well since I'm inspecting the bones?
Yeah, let's do that
Right.
because you'd be pretty close as well. You can push it if you'd like.
Can I? Yep. That's cool.
Ooh,
Push it. Oh, good.
Wow, Halstead.
dude, can we all just start rolling these?
You notice, both of you, that there's a stub of a Turkish cigarette sitting on the edge of this opening.
And I look at Baker and I'm like, that looks like Josh's. Can I tell how fresh it is?
It's not currently burning, but you can't tell anything otherwise.
Let's see here. Well, I look at Baker. I'm like, I think we got to follow this path. Seems like the way that Josh went.
Yep.
As much as we don't like it.
All right. Yeah. Yep. All right, let's do this. All right, so, hey, you two posted sentry. Halstead found one of Josh's cigarettes snubbed out here into this path to the south. It's going to be a tight squeeze, though.
I immediately look towards William. William, you can fit into small things, right?
You serious?
You are the smallest out of us. It would make the most sense.
I'll go first.
And get stuck?
I have a pistol. This is not the first time that I've been in this type of an area. Okay? This is trench warfare. Trust me, I've been in places like this. I'll go first. William, you follow up behind me. Keep the shotgun pointed away from me and keep your trigger.
You got it.
All right, you get through the opening with no issue because very shortly on the other side of it, it opens up into a passage. And you can see that this passage descends downward rather sharply.
Hey, guess who brought 200 feet of rope, baby?
It's not so much so that you're climbing downwards, but it does descend rather quickly. Are you off continuing ahead?
Taking a look at something here really quick, because... Okay, cool. I'm sorry, I was just making sure. I couldn't remember if there was a phobia that I kind of had, and I couldn't remember if it was for tight spaces. Anyways, okay, so, sorry, you said narrow hole, and then repeat that? I'm sorry, I was
opens up into a bigger passageway that descends downward into further caverns.
Okay, so descending like straight down, angle to the south, angle to the east, angle to the west?
Yeah, it's rather sharply sloping downward, going straight. It seems like it's starting to twist off, going southeast.
Southeast, okay. So I would call back and say, you guys can come on through. It opens up a few feet in here, you're fine.
Everyone makes it through with no issue. Are you continuing down into the caverns? Into the darkness?
Isn't there one of us that's really good at rappelling? Who's good at climbing? Somebody, whenever we were climbing up into that thing,
yeah,
somebody was.
It was me, but I got super lucky with my roll.
And it's not it's so steep that you need to set up any climbing rope. But it does descend down.
Oh, okay.
So, are you all continuing down there?
Yeah.
I look to. We're getting pretty far down. Should we perhaps tie each other together?
Oh, I understand the thought process behind that, but if
Just kidding.
I don't know, because if whenever you do that, then you risk two things. Number one, you can keep track of each other a little bit better, but we do have these head lanterns on. I would say if we start to run out of fuel, maybe then. But the thing is that if one of us gets snatched up or one of us falls, the other ones are going too.
Wait, I also have an idea. I know it seems a little weird, but humor me for just a moment. I take one of my ink pens out, and I take the head off of it, and I walk up to Baker and say, I'm going to put some ink under your shirt. And I put some ink like right under his shirt, like on his skin, kind of stain his shirt. I'm going to do the same thing to everyone and myself. I know it seems weird, but if anything I don't know would perhaps mimic us, it wouldn't know about the ink.
So, Martin, you know that this definitely sounds weird and out of character, but
yeah,
you know that this is a possibility. You've read of such mimicry in some of the occult texts, though it's rare.
I would definitely file that away. I'm staring at the Butu owner right now. Pretty freaking hard.
And then I look at my pen. After I've done that, I'm just going to throw the pen down. Not harshly, but I just wanted to get rid of it now.
Is there any flint or any other kind of loose rocks here that we can make a mark on the wall?
Yeah.
So I'd make a mark on the wall that say that we're heading downwards, just in case, and so that we can kind of remember that we were here. But
Okay.
I'd be eyeing Boyle.
All right.
Like,
And so after that strange interaction, you all continue down this passage. And you continue down, and after about a half a mile, it seems, and from what you can tell, possibly 200 feet down, you come around a bend, and you see a steady, dim light. The passage straightens out after that, and the light ahead grows brighter. Soon, the passage opens into an enormous chamber that seems to be lit by phosphorescent lichen. Do you continue as is, or is there anything you'd like to do
Right past
differently
this
here?
werewolf, you say?
so I'd throw up one of these, you know, like holding up my club.
Oh,
Not power to the people, but kind of like telling everybody to stop for a second. And I turn around and I gesture for everyone to come closer. And I would say, are any of you good at moving quietly?
yeah, my head snaps towards William.
I've had some time to keep to myself.
Dude,
You know, hide in alleyways. I can do it.
all right. Halstead, you got your rifle?
Yeah.
Keep an eye on him if you can. William, you want to go up there and scout out a little bit and see if you can see when there's light, there's a reason for it, even if it's growing underground.
I'll head towards it as stealthily as possible with
Okay.
my gun drawn.
So William is heading up there alone into this chamber to check it out first? Is that
Whoa,
what the
whoa, whoa.
situation is here?
I want to stop everybody right now. Let's go ahead and tie a rope to William, and I'll hold on to it with my 65 strength.
Okay.
William, do you allow him to tie a rope around you quickly before you move in there?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a stealth check with disadvantage because you have a rope tied to you.
Oh, that's a
disadvantage being -1.
Have you ever tried to move stealthily with a rope wrapped
yeah,
around you?
It's you add 1 dice basically, but it counts as a negative towards you. There should be an option for it in there when you roll.
You basically get whichever the lowest roll is.
Yeah.
whoa.
Ugh.
You would have had it too. You had a 57.
So you are walking up into this cavern, and it's opening into this massive grotto in front of you. Essentially, it looks like the ceiling is at least 100 feet high. It's very hard to even make it out. And between being shocked by the immense cavern in front of you and the rope trailing behind you, you trip and fall. You land on, you catch yourself just fine, and you notice on the wall next to you there's some writing, actually. Some sort of runes and images of some sort that you're unable to really comprehend, but taking a better look at this hall around you, it's filled with an ambient light from this lichen, and it seems that it's almost like there's a dim lighting from candles. You barely even need your headlamp in here, though looking at finer detailed things might require it. What do you do? Do you continue further, or?
I'm just gonna like peek back towards or tug on my rope a little bit, to try to indicate, wave at the people like come closer, like we're okay. We can move a little farther ahead.
Okay. We go ahead.
All right, Martin, Halstead, following along. All right.
Yeah, I make sure
move
I'm
up
taking
there
up the rear.
And now everyone can see through this eerie twilight of this dimly lit cave. There's intricate carvings all over the walls, including natural columns that tower to the ceiling 100 feet above. The carvings, they look very old, and a lot of it's covered with lichen. Much of the finer work seems to be damaged. Around 50 feet of the eastern wall has collapsed, obliterating a lot of passages and carvings over there. Give me an archaeology roll, anyone who would be checking out these carvings.
Oh, Jesus, I'd be sticking my nose so far up in them.
I'm going to push that. I'm going to luck roll that immediately.
You're gonna wait, which one?
Luck roll. You rolled a 2.
Oh, wow.
He is a 1%.
That's
Oh
fun.
my gosh, and you rolled a 2.
All
You
right.
got it on 1%.
What the heck?
So it looks like everyone else failed then? That's surprising.
No, I passed. No, I passed.
Oh, I do
Martin.
say now. Okay, yep. So then Martin and somehow also Professor Boyle realize that these are extremely ancient. Possibly predating the oldest cave paintings that you know have been discovered so far. And taking a closer look at them, anyone can see that there's a lot of serpent motifs that are predominant in the carvings. Some of them are enormous. Certain serpent designs are repeated, possibly having some sort of symbolic meaning. And a white crescent appears on the forehead of many of the more elaborate serpent carvings. There's a lot of abstract geometric designs, zigzags, and spirals that accompany these drawings that seem to be possibly some sort of language. So, Martin, give me a Cthulhu Mythos roll.
Oh, I was about to ask for a cult, but okay.
I also have Cthulhu Mythos. Could I try that?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Close.
William or Robert, are either of you taking a look at these carvings in any detail?
Well, I went
Yeah,
to, but I don't have
I mean-
Cthulhu Mythos, so I'm just...
I don't think I have any Cthulhu Mythos either.
Okay. Yeah, you probably wouldn't yet because you haven't really read any tomes. So, that's fine. Yeah, you failed that. All right. So you can't really seem to recall any relevant knowledge about any of these carvings. But beyond this cavern, you can see that it goes much further. There's another passage heading off to the south. There's stalactites and stalagmites all over the place, and cave formations formed by water throughout this area. And it seems that up ahead is lit by the lichen as well. But we'll have to wait until next session to see what's in the passages ahead and what happened to Josh.
Real
And maybe
quick.
what lurks in these tunnels.
How are we
quick,
just walking past all these lycanthropes?
All these lycanthropes.
It's because of the potions.
Exactly. So we're going to do a raid, but that's the end of the session. The first session of all of these scenarios usually tend to be a lot of slower investigation and build up, and then next session we'll be spelunking deeper into the tunnels under Providence. Is there anything any of you would like to add? Maybe a little bit about what your characters are feeling right now, or anything at all, really, before we check out a raid?
I
Do
don't think so.
I think I want to investigate the strong, like if they're potions that are there, if they are strong potions or if they're weak potions.
Yeah,
They're way too strong for you.
Whoa.
Honestly, the fact that there's something so common in the occult with snakes and moons and all this stuff, and I'm not pulling it up into my head of what this could possibly be, is making me incredibly uncomfortable.
Vincent
Yeah.
Vincent opens his eye and you can see the yellow sign in it. No, not actually.
and Halstead's feeling Boyle's very sus right now.
Whoa, you're
And,
fucking sus.
And he also believes that he saw this in a black and white film one time. And,
Oh my god.
believes that there's a brothel down here with beautiful snake ladies somewhere. No, that's not canon.
I'm ready to
Could be,
fire
who
on the
knows?
first thing that I see moving, so hopefully it's not Josh.
Right. God, those Snapchat filters. All right, so as I said, that's the end of this session. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We're gonna do a raid, so stick around for that.
It kind of looks like
everyone.
the Jar Jar Binks filter.
Yeah, it does.